What do you got?
I think I can prove to a judge that both of these men had the mens rea.
What the hell is a mens rea?
It's a legal term the lawyers use. It just means the intention to commit a crime.
Okay, come on, let's go.
Mens rea?
Put the cuffs on him.
How could we have gotten mens rea? We take blood? Can you do it without taking blood? We both use condoms. How is this possible? I want to see a doctor. Can I have an independent blood test?
Money!
I feel sick.
What are you doing?
Mens rea! Oh! Oh! My God!
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. How are we doing? It is time. It's time for a new trial. I've been keeping this one a little bit close to the vest, but it's happening today. Jury selection is probably starting right as we speak. So the opening statements are expected to start either tomorrow or Wednesday. And when they do, we will be here and we will be covering this case from beginning to end. Triple murder. Allegedly, one guy gets murdered in the presence of 4 kids. The defendant then, all 4 of the kids were best friends. The defendant then allegedly forces 2 of the kids to kill their 2 best friends out of fear that all of them or one of them would snitch. So that's where we are today, and we're going to go back through the history of this case. This is a wild, wild ride. So we've got a lot to get through because this guy has a long history. So as the thumbnail is not clickbait. This trial has, we could go one end, we could go the other end, we could go in the middle. This case could make Darrell Brooks's trial look like a warm-up exercise, look like a Sunday school program. This guy has a history of going completely nuts in the courtroom, and we're going to hit all of those episodes. But he's been kind of calm, cool, and relaxed for the past few proceedings, but now is where the rubber hits the road. It can go either way. It can go somewhere on in the middle. So we're going to talk through all of this. But first, we sometimes we do the whiskey shot of the day or the cocktail of the day, whatever we're having. I must admit I'm a little bit off my game today because I have this raging inner ear infection that I picked up over the weekend. Somehow I got a flu. The fever. Then the fever went away and apparently decided to lodge itself in my left ear. So I am completely deaf in my left ear. So this sounds really, really weird to me. Plus, because it's an inner ear thing, I kind of list to the left when I'm walking a little bit. But we're getting that taken care of. Lesson of the day, people. Your earbuds, clean them regularly. It's been a couple of weeks since I cleaned mine, and as far as we can tell, that's what led to the inner ear infection. Clean those earbuds regularly and often. But that's where we are. The fever's down, just can't hear out of the ear. It's swollen, it's hot, and it just sort of feels like someone stuffed a bunch of cotton in it. So today's shot of the day is just straight up extra strength NyQuil. So cheers. Severe cold and flu remedy. Delish. Whew. That actually probably has a higher alcohol content than some of the alcohol we drink here. Whew. Yeah, you can taste the alcohol in that. All right. Very, very cherry forward. Cherry forward on the nose. There's nothing really on the nose, but on the palate is very, very cherry forward with a little hint of menthol and some heavy alcohol fumes on the finish. There's your tasting notes for NyQuil severe cold and flu remedy. Right. So, see, I was gonna mention that the Dragon's Treasure tea from Dragon's Treasure tea. I've even forgotten the website. Dang it! See, he called me out. He said he hates me in the preview, so I seem to have forgotten all the information. TheDragonsTreasure.com. I was gonna say, hey, I've been drinking that tea all day at the office to keep things under control, but never mind. He said he hated me at the beginning, so. Whatever you do, don't go to TheDragonsTreasure.com. Don't order any of his amazingly delicious teas. And whatever you do, don't save yourself 10% by using code VICES. But actually, this is the cocktail. We've got a nice, delicious lemon and overproofed bourbon hot toddy with a cinnamon stick, 2 wheels of lemon, 1/4 ounce of lemon juice, 2 ounces of whiskey, and just a splash. Just a very, very splash of Fireball to give it the sweetness and some extra cinnamon. That's kind of tastes like NyQuil still, but hot toddies are so good for you. Yeah, it's not a cigar in there; it's a cinnamon stick. But the hot toddies will get you through the winter. Great thing when you have a little cold, when the throat's a little tickly. Just make yourself a nice little hot toddy and sit back. Literally, that's the only thing I ever use Fireball. I've had the same bottle of Fireball for about 6 years now. All right. With that out of the way, we need to jump straight into this because there's so much ground to cover. What we're going to do is we're going to give you the background. I'll just tell you a story. I'm going to tell you a lengthy story today. We'll tell you the story, and then at the end, we'll go watch some video clips, and then we'll bring you up to date. Now, one thing I want to do is I want to just pop on over here to Law and Crime and see if they're actually covering the jury selection. I don't think they are because they've finally started to realize that jury selection is the most boring thing in the entire universe. But just in case, let's see what's going on over in Law and Crime. No, not that I can see. So good. They said the opening statements, like I said, are going to start either tomorrow or on Wednesday, depending how fast they can get the jury settled in. And with that, I think we should jump into our story. What do y'all think? The first thing we got to do is remind you to hit that like and subscribe button. I know we've only been going for 8 minutes and 52 seconds as of right now, but there's still been something to like. This handsome mug right here. That's enough for it to make you hit the like button. So hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. Please give me if you have subscribed, just double check, make sure you still are. But if you haven't subscribed, I would be honored if you would trust me a little bit with your subscription. Hit that subscribe button and see where we take you on our little law journey we do here on this channel. And then take our like and subscribe poll. This is a very basic poll. This is just to let me know what sort of people we have out here in the audience. Blast that subscribe button. Killed the like button. Well, vote. Our little poll today says, are you familiar with this case? 27% of you so far have said yes. I'm surprised. I've been keeping this quite close. Haven't seen it reported in a lot of places. No, 63% of you have said no, and 10% say you think you remember hearing something. So that's a fairly good. I expected to be more people in the no column, but let's. Does the defendant have any say in the jury selection? Well, not directly, but through his lawyers, I guess, to a certain extent. Are you going to cover Robert Tellez this coming March? I have no idea who Robert Tellez is, so probably not. Well, we'll get into Rambo's his rap name because, of course, he's a rapper. Why not? It's rapper central around here. We're covering all the rappers all the time, except for the Thug trial and the X-Tentacion trial. That was just too much. We do the minor rapper. We got minor rappers over here. And if we have time, and if I remember, we'll play one of his rap songs and see what happens. Because I guarantee you, it's worse than Darrell Brooks. I've listened to it. All right, everybody sit down. He's a lawyer self-representing himself in a murder case. Oh wait. No, that was Bradley Gillen, the crazy guy in Illinois. It's ringing some bells now that you say that. But anywho, you may have seen the thumbnail with our little feller here in a bite/spit mask. He's there for the spitting reasons, but we'll get into all of that because we're gonna tell you a story now. And again, I apologize if the vocal cords are a little constricted, and I'm talking a little bit higher than normal today. Got to get that warmth in there and the alcohol in there to kind of relax the vocal cords and warm up the stomach a little bit. Okay, good. Talk with Sally. You're awake already? Jeebus, woman, you sleep less than I do. That's shocking. All right. Spit. Everybody likes to grab yourself your popcorn, get yourself a drink wherever you are. You may be too early for some of you to grab a drink, but grab some popcorn, grab some hot chocolate, grab some wine. We're going to tell you a story here. The story's going to take a little while. So what we'll do is, if super chats come in, we'll read those kind of at a natural break in the storytelling. So that's what we'll do. We don't have any right now, so let's get it rolling, shall we? I'm trying to think where we should start. Well, let's start at the very beginning. That's a very good place to start, according to Julie Andrews. Louisville, Kentucky has a rapper. Well, had. Maybe he still raps in prison. I don't know. In jail. I don't know. Rapper Brice Rambo Rhodes. Now, he wasn't on any police watch list. So how did he end up being one of the city's most notorious criminals? Allegedly. Now that's a good place to start. Let's go back to before this guy. Allegedly. Now, granted, as I always say, everybody's entitled to a full and fair defense by an objective standard of the evidence. The prosecutors must prove beyond a reasonable doubt that the accused actually committed the 3 murders he's charged with. Why is that so important? Because one of these days it may be you or me or someone we know and love that's sitting on that chair being falsely accused. So even the people that seem to be the most guilty, that maybe even are the most guilty people, they still get the defense to protect us. So what we have to do is, regardless, we're entitled to our opinions. We're allowed to have opinions about whether we think somebody did something or not. We're allowed to have biases. Just ask juror number 1 in the Amaya Kowalski case. We're allowed to have biases. We're allowed to have even prejudices. We're allowed to have opinions, but we can't allow those biases, prejudices, and opinions and whatnot to cloud the evidence. We have to have an open mind that would allow us to weigh all of the evidence after it's presented to see whether or not we believe the state has met its burden of proof. Now, in this case, my opinion is pretty strong from the beginning, but there may be a Hail Mary thing. The prosecution may try to pull a fast one. Who knows, they may do something procedurally wrong. They may do something that violates a constitutional right that leads to a mistrial or something. But if this thing goes to the jury, let's just say that the defense has a very, very uphill battle ahead of them. But they're still entitled to do that defense. And in fact, they're duty bound to give the best defense they possibly can to their client. That's what protects you and me and our loved ones. And even the people we don't particularly like. Even the bad guys get a fair trial. Well, let's go back to him. So I'll try to remember to say allegedly. That I have some problems saying allegedly with this guy. Just having done the research I've been doing for the past little while on the guy. Allegedly doesn't roll off my tongue very well with this guy, but I'm going to try my best because right now it is just allegations. Okay, so back to where we were. He was on probation for domestic assault for incidents in 2013 and 2014. That's all too common. It's not a major thing. That's not going to raise any red flags and put you on a watch list or something like that. So he's got a few domestic assault charges from 2013, 2014 that he's on probation for. And then he was charged in 2014 in another incident in which his mother alleges that he grabbed her by the neck and punched her in the temple as she was attempting to unload some groceries from her car, which prompted his teenage sister to call the police. So 2014, his sister calls the police because he's allegedly punching his mother in the side of the head while she's trying to take the groceries in. Now these were the kind of things that he's been arrested for. And he's been flying under the police radar for quite a while, which is, all too common, as I said, when you get involved in the domestic charges, things like that. You're just kind of there. You're not really high up on their watch list. And he made some very unremarkable rap videos. Okay. And by unremarkable, I mean really bad. Like bad. Like he wishes his rap videos were as good as Darrell Brooks. What the business. They make that look like fitty. That's. I said, we'll get there. If not, we'll get to him tomorrow. So, well, he's one of his videos. He's got some friends waving guns. Just waving guns around on the video. And in one of his probably his most quote unquote famous video is a video that shows actually 2 of the 3 victims in the video waving guns and whatnot. So it shows them waving guns around in the video. There's all sorts of, the usual rap references to drugs and money and sex and all the other stuff. And, racial slurs flying around, and, gunshots going off. So it's a standard low-level rap video. Now, there's 2 kids. There's 2 kids involved here. 2 kids and 1 adult. Talk about the kids here for a second. There's one kid he was on the honor roll. His name was Larry Ordway. He was 14 years old. Larry was on the honor roll at his school, and he has a brother, presumably by another father, because his last name is Gordon. There's Larry Ordway, 14, and his brother Maurice Gordon. Larry Ordway, 14, and Maurice Gordon are 16. They're very, very close brothers, apparently, from all accounts. And they're, as I mentioned, they're featured in one of his videos holding guns. Now, they were very, very close to Rhodes, and Brice Rambo Rhodes. He's the defendant in this. The 2 kids were quite close to Rhodes. He was sort of acting as the father figure for them. He would take them, out, do things with them, ride around in the car again, put him in the videos. They'd stay with him for a couple days, just kind of your normal guy hanging out with some teenage kids in the hood. And he kind of sold them on this fantasy of becoming famous. Be in my videos, be in my rap videos. I'll make you famous. You'll be the talk of the town. You'll be the cream of the crop here in Louisville. And he would buy them food, he'd buy them clothes, and take them where they need to go. Sort of, as I said, standing in as a surrogate father to these kids. So they became very, very close to him. And the mother, she apparently didn't suspect anything from him. She didn't think anything was particularly wrong with him. Well, that was until it was too late. And before we get to that, let's hit Stingy. Stingy's got the first super chat of the day. Have the murder weapon in the video like Brooks? Oh, yeah. Well, Brooks was driving the murder weapon. These were guns. We're not sure if they're the safe. Well, no, because, maybe one of, I don't know. Just listen to the story and you can decide whether or not the murder weapon was in the video. Thank you so much for being the very, very first super chat of the day. Deeply, deeply appreciated. The support is always, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for that. Right. So 500 of you here right now. Excuse me. We're just getting into the meat of the story. So these 2 boys, Larry and Reese, are hanging around with Rhodes. And, well, they're driving around in a car one day on May 4th, 2016. So do the math. This is 9 years ago. Sorry, that's lawyer math, isn't it? It's 7 years ago, roughly. So we'll say 6.5. Let's say 6.5 just to be fairly accurate. 6.5 years ago, May 4th, 2016. The brothers, Larry and Reese, are in a car with Rhodes and 2 other teens. These 2 other teens are going to come into the picture here in just a little bit. One of them was Anwan Carter, and the other was Ja'Cory Taylor. So you only really have to remember 5 people in this story. Rhodes, the defendant, Larry and Reese, the 2 victims, and Carter and Taylor, who were in the car at the time. So they're on the car. All 5 of these guys are in the car. They're in Rhodes' car driving around town. Rhodes spots a guy named Christopher Jones, who was 40 years old, and Rhodes believed that Jones was a member of a gang or a rival gang with a hit out on him. So what he wanted to do is he wanted to cash in on the hit money. So he jumps out of the car with the other 4 kids in the car with him. They're staying in the car. Rhodes jumps out of the car and just shoots Jones dead right there in the street in front of the 4 kids. Now, of course, the everybody in the car is scared of Rhodes. They're going, "Oh my God, what the hell just happened?" Well, here's part of the problem. Well, I mean, it doesn't really matter in the long run, but it just sort of makes it worse. The guy that was shot and killed, Christopher Jones, it was a case of mistaken identity. He killed the wrong person. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have made any difference as far as a murder charge goes. But this was a truly innocent person that he just gunned down in the street because he thought he might have looked like some guy who was in a gang that had a hit out on him. Oh, speaking of local thugs. Oh, we left the stingy thing up. Sorry about that. I didn't know we did that. Speaking of thugs, we got B Handler in the house, Chandler Remington. Good morning, Chandler Remington. B Handler, that's her blood name during the YNW Melly trial. She'll be following that with me when that kicks up in February. And Dara the Wholesome, what a good place to end you. Thank you so much. All right, we've got you entered in here. Guess I'll need a street name too, huh? Legal Vibes. I think I'll be Adara the Unwholesome. Ooh, saucy. I don't have a C in my name, so I don't know. Lol. Glad for the new trial. This is supposed to last 2 to 3 weeks. But it's not going to be the hardest of trials or the hardest of cases for the prosecution to put together, as you'll see as we move along. Okay, so back in the car, they've just gunned down the wrong guy. A total innocent who just happened to look like somebody who had a hit out on him. The 2 teens and the other 2 teens in the car, all 4 teens in the car are now kind of freaked out. They're a little bit scared of Rhodes because they've just watched him murder somebody. Now, Larry and Reese, this is about 3 weeks later on May 21st. Larry and Reese, the 2 14 and 16-year-old brothers, they leave their mom's home the evening of Saturday, May 21st, 2016. Witnesses told police they left with 2 other teens and Brice Rhodes. The 2 other teens were the ones we just talked about, Carter and Taylor. So again, all 5 of the same guys are in Reese's car. Reese, got Taylor and Carter, and then the 2 brothers, Larry and Reese. Sorry, Rhodes is driving, Larry, Reese, Taylor, and Carter. This is again on Saturday, May 21st. They said they left with Brice Rhodes, who's described as being 6 foot 2 inches tall, 6 foot tallish, 200 pounds, with face, neck, arm, and chest tattoos. Again, this is not legal advice. It's just practical thinking. If you're going to go out and do something, it's probably best not to have amazingly identifying tattoos all over you. Hand, face, neck tattoos sort of seem to stand out. And he had them all. He had all the tattoos. So there they are. They're all 5 of them. All 5 of them drive away from Larry and Reese's house. Larry and Reese's mother don't hear from them for a couple of days. She doesn't hear from them for a couple of days, but that's not uncommon when they're hanging around with Reese. They'll be gone for 1, 2, sometimes 3 days, several days. But, they always have a good time. Larry was still on the honor roll at the school, so he was still getting his homework done, still doing things. So it wasn't a big problem. She wasn't overly worried when they didn't come home on the night of Saturday, May 21st, 2016. But we'll get back to that. So what happens? Allegedly, according to police, witnesses, and snitches, they left Larry and Reese's house. They went back to Rhodes's apartment. And one of the boys, Reese, he was the 16-year-old, got into a fight with Taylor, one of the other kids. And Reese pulls out a knife. And Rhodes comes in, snatches the knife away from Reese, and smacks him with it. Then Rhodes, he grabs a belt and ties up the brothers, sticking 14-year-old Larry in a bathroom while forcing a crying 16-year-old Reese to his knees, forcing him to ask for forgiveness, to beg for forgiveness, to beg for his life. Now, while Taylor and Carter, the other two kids, are watching, Rhodes, again, all of this is alleged. I'll stop saying allegedly. Everything I'm going to be reading from now until I finish, telling the story, are going to be alleged events. Rhodes stuffs a rag into 16-year-old Reese's mouth, pulls a ski mask down over his head, lays him on a quilt on the living room's carpeted floor, and then stabs him repeatedly. Over and over and over and over again. Then he brings his 14-year-old brother, Larry, out. His face is covered with a ski mask. His mouth is gagged, just like his brother. Rhodes then threatens the other two teens, Taylor and Carter, into stabbing the two brothers. One of them stabbed the already stabbed repeatedly Reese, and the other one stabbed Larry. Then Rhodes proceeded to finish off Larry by stabbing him repeatedly and repeated, just over and over and over again. Then, after he has allegedly killed these two boys and had their best friends stab them each once, why would he do that? So they're in on the murder too. They've stabbed the kids, so he's pulled them into the murder scene. After all of this goes down, after these two kids have been forced to stab their best friends, after they've watched their two best friends get murdered in front of them, then Rhodes puts the bodies into some crates, and the two teens help him load the bodies into a car. Rhodes drives down to an overgrown, grassy lot just by some abandoned house on the west side of town, puts them in a dumpster, and torches them, sets the bodies on fire. Now, while Rhodes was going out and burning the bodies of Reese and Larry, Carter and Taylor, they had to stay back at the house. They had to stay back at the apartment, mopping up the floors, mopping up the blood, cleaning up the evidence with mops and scrub brushes and bleach. And then after Rhodes comes back from disposing the bodies, he does what any good friend would do. He goes and he takes them out to dinner and buys them something to eat. And then he drives them home. Now, a medical examiner later found that Reese had been stabbed, the 16-year-old that was stabbed first. He'd been stabbed more than a dozen times. And Larry, the 14-year-old, the younger brother, he'd been stabbed more than 20 times. So over a dozen knife wounds on Reese, more than 20 knife wounds on Larry. And charred remnants of the white t-shirt and blood-stained boxers sticking to burnt hunks of meat were found in the dumpster. And what happened was the bodies were found a day later. It's in the backyard of this abandoned house. They'd been beaten and stabbed to death. Their killer had attempted to burn the body, and I believe a girl found them and told her mother, and the mother called 911. And what they say is Rhodes began to fear that everybody would snitch. So 2.5 weeks after the first murder of the mistaken identity guy, he decided that he was going to take out the two brothers and then have the other two kids help take out the two brothers, so that two of them were dead and the other two were involved in the murder. And Jones's murder, the mistaken identity murder, hadn't been solved up to that point. There was still no idea who killed this other guy, randomly in the street. Well, it didn't take long for all of that to start to unravel. As I mentioned earlier, the mother didn't report the guys missing the night of the 21st because it wasn't unusual for them to be gone multiple days when they're hanging out with Rhodes. She didn't report them the night of the 22nd either. So on Saturday night, she didn't report them gone. Sunday night, she didn't report them gone. But by then, the police had released a composite sketch of what they believed the unburned boys would have looked like and released it out to the public. And a faculty member at the boys' school recognized the two brothers and called the police. And that's when the police notified the mother. And they initially didn't want her to come down to this police station to identify the bodies just because of how horrifically damaged and burnt and mangled the bodies were. They wanted someone else to do it, but the mother went down there. Now, it didn't take very long for the detectives to track down one of the two teens, Carter, who was 15 years old, and they began interviewing him. Oh, we should mention that Rhodes was 25 years old, so he was 10 years older than everybody else. So 15-year-old Carter is tracked down really quickly. The police get him while they're looking for Rhodes, and then 2 days after the bodies are found, so on May 24th, the police spot Rhodes. Well, they spot his car on a highway, and they arrested him on an outstanding warrant on the domestic abuse case out of Indiana. Now, the reason they did that, the reason they arrested him for the abuse case, the domestic abuse case, and not the murders, is they still wanted additional time to investigate the murders. So they arrested him on a different charge, which would hold him while they did more investigation on the murder charges. Brennan says he remember watching the interrogation videos on this. I've seen pieces of it. I want to find the whole, because they interviewed Taylor and Carter and the defendant. I want to find these videos. That's what I've been looking for, and I couldn't find them, despite my best Law Racks efforts. So they get him off the street while they're investigating this other domestic violence incident out of Indiana. Now, about 7 hours after they arrested him, they charged him with the double murders of the brothers because Carter, who they were investigating, broke down and flipped and started spilling the beans, telling me exactly what happened. And most of the description I just gave you came from Carter's confession to the police. So they got him charged with the double murder of the brothers. Just the saying they just found a massive amount of evidence against him, including blood, after searching his apartment. And his mother lived with him. So I guess he must have whacked the two kids while mom was out or something. And they also got him with tampering with physical evidence, saying he destroyed some of the evidence in the house and in the dumpster where the charred items were. And the apartment had been, of course, extensively cleaned with bleach products. Now, a day after Rhodes' arrest, dozens of teens and adults, they'd gathered in a park to release blue, silver, and crimson balloons, which were the school colors for the boys. It was raining heavily. It was just a downcast, sad day for everybody involved. But that morning, the morning that they had this vigil, so the day after his arrest, Rhodes is brought before a judge in Jefferson County for arraignment. He has a private attorney, Brendan McLeod, by his side. And with his private attorney present, he pleads not guilty. And he's ordered jailed on a $1 million cash-only bond for each of the brothers' murders. So it's going to take him $2 million flat-ass cash to get out of jail. And at the vigil that night, there was a lot. It was heavily officered. There was lots and lots of officers watching the proceedings. And as some scummy folks are wont to do on the internet, a lot of them were attacking Rhodes' mother. And a lot of them were also attacking the two victims' mother. Elizabeth Wren is her name. So the netizens on Facebook were all out after the mother of the two victims. Calling her a bad mother, telling her she's a bad parent because her kids are in the videos holding guns and got their face covered with bandanas and whatnot. So they were giving the mother of the two deceased boys shit on Facebook on the day that there's this vigil going on in honor of her two kids. And mom breaks down at the vigil. You know, she's insisting that her teens weren't in the gang. They were just pretending to be tough because they wanted to be liked by Rhodes. And you know, eventually she cracks and she starts yelling at the crowd to quit harassing her on Facebook, saying it ain't about me. It's sick and sad how we can't come together for these kids. Daily Quirk says, Legal Vices, have you seen the mother? No, I don't think I've seen the mother. I think I've seen someone that might be the mother, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what his mother looked like, what their mother did, what her job was, what her job wasn't. None of that matters a damn when it's two murdered children. A woman at the vigil embraced Ren, and the two sobbed before she collapsed. And later that week, the family had intended on celebrating the brothers finishing middle school. So yeah, this was right before graduating middle school. But instead of celebrating a graduation from middle school, she has to plan their funerals. Now, we'd mentioned that one of them had flipped. We still haven't talked about Jackery Taylor. Jackery Taylor, he was the other kid. He was the fourth kid. He was 17 years old, and he was at large, but the cops kept his involvement secret. They didn't release any information about him. But eventually, the day after the vigils, they found Taylor, and they charged him on May 26th with Larry and Reese's murders. And Taylor and Carter, they're both in custody, and they're both singing like a bird. And they both claimed that Rhodes had forced them to participate in the murders and forced them to clean up the crime scene. Now, the two teens were charged in the brother slayings, and they've also testified, they've also said in their statements that they witnessed the killing of the misidentified Jones. And that's when they mentioned that it was Carter that told the police that that Rhodes had mistaken Jones for a gang member with a price on his head. So that led to his being charged with the murder of with Jones. So we have the three murders, the misidentified gang member Jones and the two brothers. Those are the three murders he's looking at here. Now, Rhodes was brought from the Metro Corrections back to court 5 days later on May 31st for a brief hearing because his first lawyer, his private lawyer, McLeod, he'd realized that he had to recuse himself from the case. He found out he could not represent Rhodes in this murder trial because he knew Rhodes' mother, and he is the kid's grandmother. So Rhodes' mother's that's right. He knew Rhodes' mother, and the grandmother of the two deceased boys was one of his good friends. So he basically knew everybody on both sides of the case. And he had to recuse himself, and him saying he had to pull out of the case because he knew Rhodes' mother and he knew the grandmother of the victims, that upset Rhodes. That angered Rhodes. And this is where you start to be able to see a little bit of what's going on up inside of the Tower de Rhodes up here. His dome the bells are a little bit dense because they're full of bats. Dude's got some bats in the belfry upstairs. So, he said that he and Rhodes were in a cell, and he told Rhodes that he had a conflict of interest and couldn't remain on the case. Again, that upset Rhodes, so Rhodes spat on him. Rhodes spit on him, and then a deputy comes in and breaks up between them. Said the lawyer was ready to throw down with Rhodes, but the deputy came in and broke it up. So then once they get into the courtroom, this was right before they went into the courtroom. Once they get inside the courtroom, McLeod advised the judge, Amber Wolf, that's her name, that it was a good idea to keep him and his soon-to-be ex-client apart because, quote, if we're close to each other, we're gonna scrap. Lawyer's still fit to be tied. Lawyer's still ready to throw down with his soon-to-be ex-client. So they're sort of kept apart. Rhodes is handcuffed. He's surrounded by deputies. And then he starts yelling at his lawyer, McLeod, across the room, saying, "You're a coward and I'll see you when you get out." Now, the attorney could have brought assault charges against his client, but he decided not to. He said it was a tantrum being thrown by a little brat. And he said he wasn't particularly concerned about the threat that "I'll see you when I get out." He didn't say it, but I think that kind of probably might be because he knows Rhodes ain't ever getting out. That may have something to do with not being too particularly scared by the threat that was against him. Exactly, Brendan. He ain't getting out, though. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking he wasn't very surprised because he ain't going nowhere. Well, anyway, we're just getting started here with the story. So the deputies, they escort Rhodes out of the courtroom, and the defendant, while he's leaving, he pulls back and he asks the judge about what it's going to take to get out on bond. The judge lets him know $2 million cash. I could have ordered him to return to the defense table and address her properly and go through all of this contempt of court BS, but apparently she's not lenient. She's known for being compassionate. She just answers his question without an admonishment, which was probably the right thing to do. If the guy's batshit crazy and he's yelling things and spitting on his lawyer and starting problems, just answer his question, get him out of the courtroom. That was probably the smartest thing. She didn't haul him back and go, "What'd you say to me? That'll be 3 days in jail." And he says, "F you. Oh yeah, that'll be a week in jail. F you, mother effer. Okay, that'll be a month in jail." And then that'll be 37 years in jail on contempt. I always love when the judges escalate things like that because they take the personal offense to it. Give him a little thing or just let him go. She did the right thing, I think. Just said, "All right, you want to be a dick? Be a dick. You want to know how much it's going to cost? It's going to cost you $2 million. Hit the road, Jack. I'm busy. I got things to do." Hey, Danielle, welcome. All right, so this big drama, we're going to look at some video of that later. This big drama gets itself worked out. But only 3 days later, there was another hearing. There was a preliminary hearing 3 days later, and suddenly there's a crowd of observers that are coming into the courtroom, basically because it's like a hockey match. You don't go to a hockey game to watch the hockey. You go to the hockey game to watch the fight. And lots of courtroom observers and whatnot, they crowded the courtroom, probably just presumably to see what crazy stuff he just might do this time. And of course, he didn't engage. I'm going to make a comparison here in a second that as soon as I turn off the noise on the oldie phone. For some reason, I didn't mute it. Okay, there we go. So everybody's packing the courtroom to see what crazy stuff he's going to do, and he didn't do it. But Rhodes, he remains attentive. He remains calm during the June 3rd hearing. He sometimes kind of smiled awkwardly as the homicide detectives are describing the murders and the evidence, including all the blood that was found in his apartment and the cars and the eyewitnesses who claimed to have seen someone that looked like him at a dumpster engulfed in flames hours after the teen went missing. Again, that's not like, oh, what you saw just a random black man in the shadows and you thought it was me. Well, see, that's the problem when you are just loaded down with face and neck tats and you're standing next to a bright flame. And we've got a super chat from Joe Choi. Thanks for doing this while sick, Jeff. Hey, wouldn't want to miss this. We're good to go. We got the hot toddies. We've had the NyQuil. Dang, I wish I had some video to watch so I could go make another one of those. Those are good. I made an assumption. You can't really tell by looking at him, which is a thing. He could be a mix of anything, really. He's clearly of mixed blood, shall we say. He's of mixed heritage. I made an assumption. I could be wrong. I don't know. Anywho. A month later, a grand jury finally indicts him on July 14th, 2016. So again, yes, that's what I'm saying. You can be black and Latino, Jeff. That's why I said he's clearly of mixed heritage. I was just saying, if I was of mixed heritage and I really wanted to claim that I was being profiled, I would go for the black before I went for the Latino side. Like I told my son, who is also of mixed heritage, Korean and American. I said, boy, when you apply for the college scholarships, you just tell them that you are because at this point he was in the States going to high school. He was under the legal guardianship of my sister. And I said, just tell them on those college scholarship applications that you are an abandoned child you're an abandoned Amerasian child whose father abandoned you and put you into guardianship in America while he and his mother are split up and separate and living in a foreign country. So you're an abandoned ward of the state of Amerasian heritage after your parents abandoned you. And dude got all the scholarships. Every dime he applied for, he got. So yeah, you want to pick and choose if you're going to be oppressed, which one gets you the most benefits. But that's a total side note there. Let's get back on the ADHD train. The train has left the tracks. We got to guide it back onto the rails. All right, so now we've gotten, again, as I said, we've got the grand jury is indicting him on July 14th for the murder of Larry, Reese, and the mistaken identity, Christopher Jones. Now, Rhodes, a month later, is accused of attacking a fellow inmate at the Metro Corrections. Rhodes knocked him on the floor on August 31st and threatened to kill the victim like he did the others. Not the greatest thing to say. Yeah, so he threatens to kill the other inmate like he did the others, according to the arrest warrant. And the victim suffered a little knot on the back of his head, a laceration on his forehead. He had a sore neck, and the jail photographed all of the injuries. And a few weeks later, just a couple of weeks after that, Rhodes spits on another inmate, September 15th. Now that incident and the August assault were both captured on the jail's surveillance video. Time and place, buddy, time and place. A week later, the deputies took some rare precautions during a preliminary hearing. Judge Wolf was noticing his erratic behavior, and that's where we get the thumbnail picture. They strapped him by his wrists and ankles into a restraint chair and covered his mouth with a spit mask before wheeling him into court. So he was in a wheelchair, arms and legs strapped to the chair with the spit mask on him. They weren't giving him any leeway at all. They were giving him the full-on Hannibal Lecter treatment, which I think is damn funny. I think it's pretty hilarious that they just gussied him up. They did a little Hannibal Lecter cosplay and got him in there. Well, as you can possibly imagine, he wasn't really thrilled. He wasn't really happy with being put in this chair, being put in the restraint, being given the Lecter mask. And while he was in the mask, strapped down to the wheelchair, he's threatening to find the judge and kill her and her family. They're in open court with the mic on, saying, "What do you think? We can't find her where you live at?" And so the deputies are standing nearby. There's three corrections officers behind him. They're all wearing gloves. They're ready to go. And he continues his rant. "I don't give a fuck. You got family. I'll be out." Well, this judge wasn't nearly as tolerant as his attorney was, who got spat upon. The judge gave him additional charges of terroristic threatening and intimidating a participant in the legal process. Yeah, while your counsel may be a little lenient, maybe a little forgiving, go, yeah, you're a box of dicks, but you're just being a dickhead. I won't press charges against you. Judges sort of tend to take this. You don't think we can find out where you live at? You got family. I'll be out. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, judges don't take to that too well. Yeah, this dude is a spitter, Flux. He's a spitter. Righto. So there lest you think it's over, it ain't over yet, peeps. We got more ground to cover. This is still going. And let's see how we doing over. Now we've got 758 of you here, and what are we looking at? What are we looking at on the likes here? We got 400 and something likes. That's pretty damn good, but we're still like, we got 414. We're still 300 likes short. We're almost to the 1 hour grift mark. We'll talk to you in a couple of minutes about that. Let's see how high we can get here in the next. And by high, I mean how many more likes we can get. Not what you degenerates. We need at least to get up to 420 likes, right? Right, you weed heads, right, you potheads. All right. All right. Take the like and subscribe poll once you have liked and subscribed, and we'll see how we're doing in about 10 minutes. Okay, so the judge has been threatened. She's got additional charges against him for terroristic threatening and intimidating a participant in a legal proceeding. So everything is all hunky-dory, and we can finally leave 2016 and get into the next intervening 5.5 years, right? No. Well, 2 weeks after that, 2 or 3 weeks after that, he refuses to return to his jail cell. He doesn't want to go back into his little cage, and he begins to break things and throw cleaning supplies around inside the day room where everybody is. He doesn't want to go back into his little cage. And then he's accused of ripping an inmate observation document. So yeah, they go, I saw Rhodes being a box of dicks. He was throwing stuff around and breaking shit just like a toolbox, like he is. He took that and he ripped it up, apparently. As well as he took a broken broom handle and was swinging it at a glass window in an attempt to break the glass. He was trying to break through the glass to get to an officer that was behind the glass. He told the officer he wanted her, yes, it was a female officer. He told the officer he wanted her to come inside and that he was going to kill her. Congratulations, Mr. Rhodes. You earned yourself another terroristic threatening charge. But wait, there's more. It gets worse and worse and worse. 5 days after pulling this terroristic threatening charge for tearing up the day room and threatening to kill one of the officers, 5 days later, he's accused of throwing urine through the crack of his cell door, striking an officer in the head, neck, and ear. Dude got piss bombed. Sucks to be you. Well, both of you, the piss bomber and the piss bomb E. Well, fast forward a few weeks again. It's November 17th. He's being brought back to court. His attorneys enter a not guilty plea on his behalf on all of these new charges. Of course, they have to, you know. But this time he wasn't wearing a spit mask, and he remained calm and attentive. He was docile this time around. Now, at this point, we learn that there was a fourth person that was involved. Because we had the two victims, Larry and Reese, we had Taylor and Carter and the defendant Rhodes, but there was a fourth suspect they'd been keeping under wraps this entire time. So it was a surprise when this 19-year-old named Tyrone Coleman was indicted on November 22nd on 2 counts of murder and 2 counts of abuse of a corpse and 1 count of helping tamper with physical evidence. Well, we're almost done with 2016. If you're keeping score at home. So right out of the gate, he's doing his thing. He's flying the freak flag and pulling the charges. Literally, oh, why do I keep having that up? I need to keep watching here. Yeah, he's just pulling in the charges as quick as he possibly can. Yeah, maybe they gave him NyQuil and a hot toddy. Oh, I wish. Probably would have kept him chill. I'm feeling pretty chill right now. Right. Where are we at here? Okay. one of Rhodes' co-defendants, Carter, 15-year-old, he pled guilty on November 30th, 2016, to reduced charges. They gave him a pretty goddamn good deal. They gave him a goddamn good deal. 15-year-old pleads guilty to reduced charges of 3 counts of facilitation to murder of the teens and the 40-year-old, with each count carrying up to 5 years in prison. So he's facing a possibility of 15 years in prison. He also pled guilty to tampering with evidence, which carries 1 to 5 years. So he's looking at 20 years. But prosecutors recommended, and eventually he got a 10-year sentence. So what did he get in exchange for his 10 years? He is going to go repeat his story as a witness against Rhodes at the murder trial. KKB is asking for a timestamp to get acquainted with what's going on. Go back 57 minutes ago. This entire 57 minutes has been a timestamp to to let you know where to go back. All we've been doing is talking about the bad stuff this guy is alleged to have done from probably about minute 5 until now. That's all we've been talking about is this case, the background to it. So this is a wild, wild case. All the bad is happening here. So Carter's got this plea deal. He gets sentenced to 10 years in exchange for testifying against the others. Well, we've got into 2017 now. It's January 5th, 2017. What's our old buddy Rhodes up to, do you think? What might he have been doing for the past little while? Because we hadn't heard from him since October of 2000. Oh, we'd heard from him from November 22nd, 2015. What do you think he's been up to for the past 6 weeks? Well, he'd been trying to dig a hole out of his cell with a sharp metal object. Yeah, he was trying to tunnel through the floor of his cell. He got caught. The Metro Corrections Officer, being the sharp, eagle-eyed officer that he is, being a correctional agent that you can't get anything past, he noticed a man-made hole under the cinder blocks in Rhodes' cell. Officers say they tried to confiscate the metal object, as Flux would call it in the military, and Valhalla's here as well as, and anyone else who's in the military, his homemade personal entrenching tool. They tried to confiscate his homemade entrenching tool, but he was too quick for them. He was too quick for those corrections officers. He saw that they wanted his personally improvised entrenching tool, so he grabbed it and he flushed it down the toilet. Did he use a Rita Hayworth poster? Great movie, by the way. No, he just had some cinder blocks in the floor. Flux found that funny. Good. I'm glad you found that funny. It's not every ending is a Shawshank Redemption ending, especially not for him. So he flushes down his improvised entrenching tool down the toilet, and there you go. He's charged with first-degree criminal mischief, second-degree escape, and tampering with physical evidence, all of which are felonies. It's unclear how Rhodes got the sharp object. I like to think he was carrying around a sharp object in his prison pocket. And he was doing calisthenics and hating every damn minute of it until he got time to extract his entrenching tool from his nether regions. So that's the story I'm going with. Absolutely no clue if that had anything to do with it, but I like the idea that he was carrying around a sharp object in his prison pocket. Now, it was at this point, in early 2017, that the prosecutors announced their intention to seek the death penalty against Brice Rhodes. So they sought the death penalty. They wanted to look. They wanted to do whatever they do in Kentucky. I assume it's a firing squad or lethal injection. Probably lethal injection. I know Utah still has a firing squad, if I remember correctly. I don't think they've taken that off the books. I think Washington and like Wyoming or Colorado, they still do hangings, I believe. But anyway, I think it's probably just a lethal injection. They wanted the death penalty for Rhodes, and that was in May. In May of 2017. They decided they want the death penalty. And they said they wanted the death penalty because there was aggravating circumstances. Well, what were the aggravating circumstances that led the officers to want, led the prosecutors to want to give him the death penalty? Well, because you need aggravating factors in order to bring a death penalty case in Kentucky, apparently. The aggravating factors were he killed a lot of people. That was the aggravating factor. Many people died. 3 people dead. That's aggravating. That was the aggravated murder because he killed a bunch of peeps. Well, the last guy number 4 that got arrested, Tyrone Coleman. He accepted a plea deal in 2017. He admitted that the rest of Harvard and the manufacturer and the migratory factors against him should be somewhat offset by the latitudinal privileges. Yes, he admitted. Let's try the whole thing again. Tyrone Coleman accepted a plea deal in July of 2017, admitting that he facilitated the murder of the brothers as well as the movement of their bodies into the backyard of the abandoned house. Now, that's a lesser crime than the initial charges were against him. They originally had arrested him and charged him with complicity for murder, but so he got this lesser charge of facilitating a murder. But he also pled guilty to tampering with evidence and 2 counts of abuse of a corpse. So what eventually happened to Mr. Coleman? During an emotional hearing, a judge sentenced Coleman to 10 years in prison in September 2017. But she said he has a good chance at what they call shock probation because he has no other criminal history. So he might get out early because he's never done anything wrong before. I mean, if your life gets to the point where you're helping somebody, where you're facilitating a murder and you're abusing corpses and you're tampering with evidence, I'm going to go out on a limb. Again, I'm not saying this is his case because I just don't know, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say this ain't the first time you've done something wrong. By this point, I'm willing to bet a large amount of cash that this is just the first time you got caught. So the lack of a criminal record doesn't necessarily mean he ain't done this shiz before. Oof. Well, the grandparents of the victims. You saw them in the intro here. They were the ones holding the pictures. They're carrying framed school photos of the brothers to court. They're pleading with the judge to send all involved in the murders to prison. We got a video clip of grandmother just flat out telling the judge, I want them executed. On the vice scale, just short of, worse than Darrell Brooks, but just short of Taylor Shabusiness. Well, Shabusiness, she's the gold standard. Her and Chandler Halderson, they're kind of the gold standard for psycho whack job, chop them up, probably take a nibble thing. But I mean, Shabusiness, she goes for the win because she got into a lot more creepy things than Halderson did with his parents by a mile. But they're kind of the gold standards. We can't compare everyone. What I was gonna compare, never mind. Forget that. Wandering back on the path here. January 2018. We're nearing the near future. We'll get into January 2018 here in just a bit. But we've been going at this for a little over an hour, and we've got 780 concurrent viewers here. That's a great number. Thank you for the 784 concurrent viewers. We've got 500 likes. Still need like 287 more likes. We need at least 600. Once we hit like 600 likes, that's when YouTube goes, hey, there's something really fun happening over there. Let's tell people about it. Let's send them some references. And then it enters us into the algorithm and we look good. That's sort of the sweet spot, the 600 number. And we are $70 away from unleashing Doggo Cam. We're far, far away from that particular goal, but it's not really a goal. It's not really a goal. It's just an achievement that gets unlocked at the Hyundai mark. So Doggo Cam and Strawberries here, just awaiting her appearance on camera if that ever happens. Take our like and subscribe poll once you've liked and made sure you're subscribed. Let's see where we're sitting now. It's almost exactly where we left off. 24% of you have said yes, you're familiar with the case. 67% of you say no, you're not familiar with the case. And 10% say you think you remember hearing something. Valhalla says, he mentions that, did you know about his body modification? I haven't seen any particularly egregious body modification that would make me go, God dang. So I don't know exactly what it is, but well, Lisa says she's familiar now. That's the important part. And we have one member for 9 months. Thank you so much, Chance, for being a member for 9 months. You have been a member of 9 months for the Clean and Sober crew. Thank you so much. Sounds like Rhodes is just going for a charges record. Yeah, he seems to be well on his way, which is why I'm saying this could either make Darrell Brooks's trial look like a warm-up act, or he could just go like, all right, I'm toast. Let's just sit here and be a normal human being and try not to get life imprisonment or whatever. You know, try to at least get an option of parole. Who knows? It's only time's gonna tell on this one. We just don't know. The poll isn't showing up for a lot of people because YouTube did an update a while ago, and for some reason it blocks out a lot of the Android units and things. I don't get YouTube polls on my phone either. Brooks had like 100 and something charges because he killed 60 some odd people with his truck. Yeah, a little different. Did he kill all 60 of them, or did he just like wound a bunch of? Anyway, yeah, that was just a larger scope. Right. I think that takes care of all of the super chats and gifted memberships and monthly memberships. That takes care. Oh, we're up to 538 likes already, so we're well on our way to that 600 mark. 771 of you here. Thank you so much. And as we mentioned at the beginning, right now, as we're talking, jury selection is reported to be underway. They're expecting to either have the jury completely seated today or tomorrow. So the opening statements could start either tomorrow or Wednesday. And when it does, we'll be here. How I normally run these trials when I do the trial streams is we'll watch the morning session of day one live. And I usually check out at lunch and go to sleep because I live here in Korea, where right now it's 12:10 a.m. So they usually go to lunch right around 2 a.m. my time. I go to sleep. Then we come back. We start a little bit. We start out. Darrell Brooks only killed 6. Seems like he killed a lot more than that. But yeah, so 6 and 60 or 70 some odd wounded. Scope. But yeah, so we'll watch the morning of the day one live, and then we start like 30 minutes or an hour early the next day, where we watch the afternoon on 1.25 speed until we catch up, until we finish out, and then we start the current live morning session at 1.25 speed until we catch up. And then we check out again at lunch, and then we lather, rinse, and repeat. So we're always like half a day behind, and then we catch up on the weekends so we can start Monday again with live. So that lets not only me get some sleep, but it lets all of you viewers go out and go about your day and do other things, and then we just catch up the next day. So you all get to have afternoons, and I get to have some sleep. That's kind of how we run them. That seems to be a good way. All righty. With that, I think we're ready to jump into part 2. We've already worked our way up. Strawberries off in Snoreland there, just waiting for that achievement to be unlocked. Oh, speaking of unlocking achievements, Tuesday and Wednesday of this week, like I said, what tomorrow and Wednesday, I don't know. I'm gonna have something ready for tomorrow. I'm not sure what it is, but Wednesday and Thursday and Friday we'll be doing this trial. But then Friday evening U.S. time, we'll be doing my F It Friday, my monthly F It Friday stream, where we say, F it, you throw super chats at me. It's a super griftathon. every $100, I do a shot of whiskey. We have a great panel of guests. Gosh, we've got a good lineup so far, and I don't have the list here in front of me. Let me take a quick little search here for the list so far. Need to go to Twitter, and I will not call it X ever until I can no longer access it using twitter.com. That's my sticking point. All right, so far we've got potentially criminal Sean, Law of Self-Defense, Andrew Branca, Andrew Legal Mindset, Chandler Remington, Danny on Direct, our very own Flux, Talk with Sally, Nick Ricada, Ozzy Overlord, Nicholas Starov, possibly Natalie Wisco, possibly Megan Fox. Ian Runkle said he's going to try to come in as well. So that's the list up to this point. A few other people have asked. I'm trying to get back with them to confirm, and I've asked a couple other people. So we have a pretty good, solid group lined up so far. And then probably the next weekend we'll be doing our very moddy Christmas. Maybe some point during the next week in a special stream, so where all of our mods can join us that are available, and you can meet the mods. Otherwise, we'll be following this trial. This trial is expected to go 2 or 3 weeks, so probably the end of the year, maybe just a smidge into the new year. We'll see how it goes. All right, I think that's all we need to do. Got all the super chats read, everything's read, Twitter's updated. All right, February 2018. That's where we are now. Mind you, this happened 6.5 years ago. January 2018. Taylor, one of the other boys that was involved, he pleads guilty to facilitation murder, which was reduced from the original murder charges. Now, the mother of the slain teens, she tells the judge she wasn't satisfied with the plea deal. She didn't want to plea him down. She wanted him to face the full charges. It's not fair losing 2 children at the same time, she said. See, we can't forget that this mother lost 2 of her children, her only 2 children apparently, on the same day. She said, to me, they all should get life without the possibility of parole. In February 2018, court filing, prosecutors released notes believed to have been sent by Rhodes, the co-defendant. Genius Boy is sending notes. Rhodes is sending notes to co-defendant Taylor in 2017 while they were both housed in the same facility at Metro Corrections. The letter includes the words, "Rats get exposed," and encourages Taylor to recant his police statement, not take any plea deals, and go to trial. Well, I have a very, very sneaky suspicion that we're going to be seeing that letter, which includes the words "Rats gets exposed" and encourages Taylor to recant his police statement, not to take any plea deals, and go to trial at the hearing. I'm pretty sure that's going to come in as evidence at some point. Just a month later, on March 14th, 2018, Jackery Taylor, the 19-year-old, he was ordered to serve 10 years in prison without probation in connection with the May 2016 murders. So he took the deal. The rats get exposed. That didn't intimidate him out of ratting him out. And he got 10 years without parole in connection with the May 2016 murders. And Taylor, the other guy, first of all, we had Carter, who agreed to testify, and now Taylor has also agreed to testify against Rhodes. And then the fourth guy, Coleman, as we mentioned, he was sentenced to 10 years. So everybody gets 10. You get 10 years, he gets 10 years, everybody gets 10 years. Except for our boy Rhodes, who, right here at this point in the narrative in 2018, is facing the death penalty for the 3 murders. That catches us up to 2018. And 19, 20, 21, he went through a couple of lawyers. He's on his 3rd lawyer now. And that brings us semi up to date, where we got a couple of articles we can go through here to to bring us up to present time. So what I want to do now is show you some of the videos. Some of the videos of the things we've talked about, some of the hearings, some of his antics, some of the interrogations. And this is, you'll notice the words are backwards because I flipped the videos around so that, we're less likely to be nailed by the copyright kings. If we do get claimed, we get claimed. I don't care. But just want to make it a little less obvious, a little less possible. All right, let's bring up this is the, what are the interrogation videos? This is a brief news article about the interrogation video. This is our boy Brice Rhodes here. Yep, knew what it was. I don't. All right, let's flip this back because he's mumbling. Here we go. Here's denying that he knows where these kids are, anything about him he doesn't know. Let's embiggen this as much as we can. There we go. All right.
No. Not long after, Rhodes stopped answering questions and asked for a lawyer. But 15-year-old Anwan Carter didn't stop talking. He said he and 18-year-old Ja'Cory Taylor were in Brice's apartment when the murders took place.
He made Maurice on his knees and beg for forgiveness. And I keep it up.
He said he put a toboggan over his head. He means a ski mask. God knows why the kid called it a toboggan. I don't know if that's. I certainly hope that's not some weird regional thing to call a ski mask a toboggan, because a ski mask and a toboggan are sort of like comparing apples to chariots. So, I don't know. He calls him a toboggan. He meant ski mask. So, Maurice made him get on his knees and beg for forgiveness and put a toboggan on his head.
Put a toboggan over his head, and he put a rag in his mouth. And he stabbed him.
Carter describes a similar scene for Maurice's brother.
We moved Maurice to the side.
Wait. You peeps are actually saying that's what they're called. Seriously. Huh. Oh, regional things are weird. That's what they're called. Skull cap, weird regional thing. It's like a beanie. It's a name for a mask. They used to call them toboggan. Well, it's not really. A toque doesn't have a mask. That's just like a big, long, dangly hat. Anyway. Huh. It's what they call it in the South. They call it like a toboggan is like a sled. Toboggan with two holes is a ski mask. Then what the hell's a ski mask? Oh, regional things are so interesting. Huh. Well, there you go. I just thought he was confused. Well, he was thinking of a balaclava, but I mean, this would be more of the ski mask because, the balaclava just has the open face. This has the two eye holes, but apparently that's what they're called. So, hey, all right, cool. LC Merritt confirmed toboggans are hats. Now we just need an AI image of people wearing toboggan sleds for hats. Right. All right. Everybody. Well, is Utah the only place that doesn't call them toboggans? Holy shit. Huh. No. See, there's a difference between a sled and a toboggan. A sled you can steer. A toboggan you can't. They're like the same basic. Anyway, how odd is that? All right, anyway, all right. So, yeah, whatevs. Huh. Stingy with another $2 super chat. Thank you so much. Oh, I gave you the big horn there. Toboggan is Tim Pool style beanie. Tim Pool style beanie. So what you're telling me is Mushmouth from Fat Albert. He wore a pink toboggan, not a lampshade. All right. Huh. All right. So a lot. Geez. What? There's like 740 people here, and apparently 738 of you use the term toboggan for a ski mask. Like me and Sheena Farrer are like the only ones of the 740 people here that call a ski mask and a toboggan. Huh. All right, whatever. I have learned something new. I just learned that when I go outside of my front door, I'm supposed to call it a toboggan. I guess, when there's like 100 people in a room and 99 of them are wrong, I guess that means you're the wrong one. So, all right. Let's get on with it.
So we broke his brother and we put the tobacco of his head. He put the tobacco of his head. We put the sock in his mouth. Like, started stabbing him too.
Carter says he and Taylor were forced to be involved in the killing.
He made us stab him.
He made y'all stab him? So you and Corey stabbed him too? All right. How many times do you think you stabbed him?
I stabbed him one time.
Carter says the brothers had witnessed Rhodes kill a man earlier that month, a possible reason into why they were killed.
And they seen somebody just falling on the street. And they said Rambo, so I got the street and shot him. And Brice, he was a getaway driver, so he was driving.
All right, so yeah, that's one of the people who've pled guilty now, saying that he was there and he was stabbing them. Oh, hey, when did we bring up Doggo Cam? When the hell did that happen? Not sure when that happened, but okay. Alrighty, well, go away. You have not earned a Doggo Cam. You're still $65 away from Doggo Cam. You don't get Doggo Cam. All right, that was a taste. That's what a taste of what you're missing without it, because you haven't unlocked the Doggo Cam. Anyway, let's get on to the next story. Now, this is the confrontation he got into with his first lawyer in the courtroom, the spitting incident. And his lawyer goes after him verbally, not physically. The lawyer goes after him as well. All right.
Spit on and threatened. A defense attorney says that is what happened when he told a high-profile murder suspect he'd no longer represent him.
WDRB's Rachel Collier shows us what happened in front of a judge. Rachel?
Brice Rhodes is here in jail charged with killing two teenage brothers, and now he'll need to find a new attorney. Before the hearing started, attorney Brendan McLeod told the judge he was so angry he needed to be separated from Brice Rhodes in court. McLeod tells WDRB he was speaking with Rhodes before the hearing, explaining he would no longer represent him. He says everything was calm, and then Rhodes spit on him. After Rhodes was led into the courtroom in his red jumpsuit, marking his protective custody, McLeod let him know how he felt about being spit on.
Nice cheap shot. You a coward. Nice cheap shot. You a coward.
I'll see you when I get out. McLeod says he isn't afraid of the threat. McLeod took on the case because he knows Rhodes' mother. He stepped away because he learned the victims, 14-year-old Larry Ordway and his brother, 16-year-old Maurice Gordon, are the grandchildren of his close friend. The two brothers were found stabbed to death, their bodies badly burned earlier this month. Rhodes is charged with murdering them. Two juveniles are also charged in the case. We're also learning more about the teen murders. Homicide detectives now telling us they were killed at Rhodes' apartment in the Clifton neighborhood.
That's
Police say the bodies were
that's
taken
where it all
from the
happened.
murder scene and dumped behind a vacant home in the Shawnee neighborhood. Rhodes told a judge this morning he'll find another attorney. Leaving court, he had a question. He'll need
Hey,
$2
Judge,
million
what's my
to get
bail?
out of jail.
The answer,
Rhodes
$2
is
million.
also charged in the shooting death of Christopher Jones in early May. The two teens' mother says she believes her sons were killed because they witnessed Jones' murder. The funeral for the two brothers is ending right about now.
That's the end of that particular video there. The next video we want to watch is the one where he threatens the judge. Again, in the grand scheme of things, threatening the judge is really not the best way to assert your innocence and to try to persuade people that you really should let him go because he's a great guy. Before we get there, though, we have Bella Stella, who's gifted 10 Legal Vices memberships. Thank you so very, very much for that. That puts us almost to the Doggo Cam line, because as I said, I've started including the gifted memberships in there. I just got to do the math and figure it out. Should be about $80, I think. It's Monday. It's stupid. It's Monday. It's stupid. Give us doggos, pretty please, says Island. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much for being a member for 2 months. I remember when you signed up for the membership. And Will Call Magic with a $1.99 super chat. Toboggan is a sled, not a ski mask. I agree with you. And somebody was saying don't bite. The chat is trolling, but hey, you never know. We'll just finally gift certs. I just had no idea how much the memberships were. I hadn't done them because anyway, yeah, whatever. They're included now. So there you go. Thank you, by the way, so much, Bella Stella, for the 10 gifted Legal Vices memberships. You are one of the people that got the Bella Stella gifted membership. Make sure you give her a super special thanks. Yes, that's right. Yeah, it just took me a while to figure that out. So now that also the memberships, gifted memberships, will be included in the F at Friday totals. So that should help with the intoxication. So keep those super chats and memberships flowing. They will get added up all together for the F at Friday tallies. I believe everybody. Toboggan is just not something I'd ever heard when dealing with ski masks. But all right, let's bring up this next video. This is the one where he's threatening the judge. Where is we? Where are we? Present screen. Share screen. Judge. Here he is being wheeled in, strapped to the chair with his Hannibal Lecter mask on.
Mr. Rhodes, you can just bring him up right here.
You can just park him over here.
I think you know why. You know exactly why. Now, listen, stop talking. Have been.
He didn't stop talking, Beep.
Are you done?
No, I'm done.
You've been charged in the 4th degree. I'm going to keep talking because I don't want to have to see you back here for.
I like this. She didn't do the Judge Darrow thing with the Brooks. Just let Brooks just talk and talk and talk and talk. She's like, I'm just going to keep talking over you because I have to get through this and I don't want to see you back here. So I'm just going to continue to talk over you.
For this.
What you think where you live at? What you think at? None of that. I don't do.
So you're saying you're going to find out where I'm out?
None of that. You got something, I'll be out.
Okay. Yeah, you've been charged with assault in the 4th degree, minor injury.
Yeah, I'm going to be out. Okay. You just keep thinking that. You just keep thinking you'll be out. You just keep on with that little dream. And John Gordon says, can they gag him? Oh, we'll get there. Well, they have plans. They have plans for dealing with the wild roads. So stay tuned for that. We'll get to their plans here in just a bit. And while we're at it, the Dragon's Treasure, who has apparently repented and seen the light of day. So in his is his defense I didn't do nothing, or they had it coming, or something else? Well, we'll get to it a little bit later. But his defense is they framed me. It's a frame up. I didn't do it. The police are framing me. That's his big defense. And Scrody McScrode balls. Oh, sorry, not Scrody McScrode balls. Scrody McBooger balls. Same thing, I guess. Close enough. Release the lawns. We'll release the lawns here in just a little bit. 40-60. Oh, okay, now we have that. Put us over the edge. Just Dawn, Soulless Ginger, in memory of Princess Sophie, benevolent ruler of all mid-sized yellow doggos. Release the doggos. Oh, how can I refuse that? How can I refuse that?
Release the hounds.
There we go. We have to release the hounds. All right, so to do that, what do we got to do? We got to do this. There we go. And turn that a bit. Beep. There we go. There we go. We have now officially released the hound. That's Strawberry. Yoda is again sleeping in the living room. I'm guessing a taser jockstrap would be unconstitutional. They've got plans. Don't worry. They've got it all under control. Let them do their thing. I said we'll talk about their plans and stuff coming up here in just a little bit. All right, let's go back and finish this judge here. That's a little too big. If we have that, you can't really see the court, can you?
Terroristic threatening in the 3rd degree with physical contact. new charges. I'm entering a plea of not guilty on your behalf. Would you like me to read the arrest warrant to you?
No, I'm not guilty.
I am setting a bond of $15,000 full cash on that on those charges, and the other case, once this actually gets served on you, is going to be dismissed without prejudice as duplicate. Do you have any questions? Would you like appointment of a public defender?
Not guilty.
I just said that.
Not guilty, not guilty. Yeah, I just said that. Didn't you hear me say I'm entering a plea of not guilty on your behalf? Did you miss that part? Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty.
Said that.
I'll be out.
Okay, I just said that. And would you like an attorney?
Take me back to my cell.
I'm not taking you anywhere. They can take you back, but would you like an attorney?
All right.
Okay. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office. Ms. Turing, that was a threat against the court. I think that I'm asking the county attorney's office to take that into account and consider what to do with that.
Judge Amber Wolf, release the wolf. Release your inner wolf. All right.
Y'all want me to take hold? Also, can you please get that served on him? Thank you. Good luck with that, Eric.
She's like, yeah, good luck serving him. He's in jail, but still, good luck serving him.
Yeah.
Accused triple murderer.
All right. Well, we don't need him. Go away. Go away, dude. Right. Oh, well, we're going to bring straight up the next video here. This is where he accuses his lawyers of being racist. Yeah, he's accusing his lawyers of being a racist. The ones that are trying to help him. The ones that are representing him.
Accused triple murderer threatens a Louisville judge while claiming his own attorney.
What was the threat? I know where you live. You have family right. I know where you bank. You don't think we can't find you? Yeah, that's the threat.
He's a racist. WDRB's Travis Ragsdale shows us what happened and why some believe he's playing the system. Travis.
System.
Another day in court with Brice Rhodes and another wild day with cursing and outbursts.
Your job is to do your job, not to worry about me. That's what I'm saying. Well, I worry about me. You worry about yourself.
In typical Brice Rhodes fashion, he once again had that outburst at Judge Charles Cunningham on Thursday. It came during a pretrial hearing for the accused triple murderer. Rhodes was arguing that detectives are framing him for the May 2016 murders of Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon. He's also accused of shooting and killing 40-year-old Christopher Jones around the same time.
Two Louisville homicide detectives, Mr. Tonelli and Mr. Griffin, both fabricated testimony and evidence they committed perjury.
He's facing the death penalty and for the third time wants a new attorney.
You're not trying to give me a fair chance, effective counsel.
Well, who do you think I should give you as a lawyer?
I'll write the Bar Association and the ACLU.
Ordway and Gordon were found stabbed to death and burned in the backyard of a West Louisville home. After Rhodes' outburst in court Thursday,
you worry about yourself.
He had some parting words for Judge Cunningham.
We're going to find out, though. We're going to find out real quick. Promise it.
That's when the victim's grandmother, Jackie.
This is Grandma here. Poor Grandma.
Partee spoke up from her seat.
It's going on 4 years for him to stay. I'm their grandma, and this is going on for 4 years.
6.5 now.
Yes.
Cunningham explained
that's what I was saying. Do you think the judge says? Do you think he should be executed? You say yes. Yeah, this has been going on for 6.5 years now.
Process to her and how he's trying to avoid the case getting thrown out on appeal. WDRB spoke to Partee after that outside the courtroom.
It's very frustrating. It's frustrating probably to the judge to see him keep doing what he's doing. But what can you do? My grandchildren didn't have a chance. Everything that he's saying in there, thinking he's so smart. This has got to stop.
Rhodes is scheduled to go to trial in April, but that will
that April trial was a long way away. Poor Grandma, she lost her grandkids and everything. Now, the next, here we have the judge and Rhodes. This is a particularly interesting clip. This is some raw court footage of him having words with the judge. Before we get there, we got a couple of things going here. Lisa, I almost read contempt omnivore. Lisa, the content omnivore, says, "Is he Brooks 2.0? I hope not." And MG Law, "Hey, what's up, brother? Just joining. Is this guy the next Brooks?" He very well could be. Yeah, he very, very well could be. He's not a soft set. He's not representing himself, but he did file a motion. I think it was a motion to dismiss, but it was a motion to just let me go. And this is kind of what the judge is talking about. I believe in this clip. He just kind of basically, he wanted to read his own thing that he wrote, basically saying, I want to get out of jail. I want you to just stop trying me because I'm being framed. They never work. So yeah, he has a potential of being worse than Brooks. But he could also he could be mellow and calm. Okay, this is the third time I've been trying to decide whether or not to make this particular comparison. I think he's very Manson-like. He's very Charles Manson-like. Where that was Charles Manson's thing, was I'll be the guy you want me to be. You want me to be the guy that acts up in court and acts all crazy and weird? I'll do that. You want me to be the guy that sits back really chill and doesn't say anything? I can be that guy too. I think that's how he's playing the system. He's being the guy. He's being the wild guy. He's being the abrasive guy. He's being the abusive guy. He's being the tough guy when he thinks that's what you're looking for, when that's what's going to get the rise out of you. And the other times when he's not going to get the rise out of you, so he's going to sit back and be a normal guy. That's why I kind of think he's very, very Charles Manson-y that way, very manipulative that way. So he manipulated, allegedly, some kids into doing some horrible things on his behalf, or to assist him with it. And yeah, I think he's very, very Charles Manson-y. But Strawberry's asleep, doesn't care. So let's get into this. This is a particularly weird little exchange he has with the judge. And when we watch this, there's a couple. First of all, listen to the judge, and let's just listen to the judge. And then the next one we watch is kind of even weirder. But all right, let's go. Let's bring this on up. Raw video exchange with judge.
Can we do a fair trial in Jefferson County? But then another part of it is, if we have a concern, what's the alternative? Because then if we might get into.
He's blowing kisses at the victim's family. That's what he was doing right there when he leans back and he's blowing kisses.
A fair trial in Jefferson County. But then another part of it is, if we have a concern, what's the alternative? Because then if we might get into a situation on the law where I'm supposed to weigh the pros and the cons. Ma'am,
Stop it. Look at me,
ma'am.
He keeps turning.
Ma'am, I told you once before. Let me please help you understand. You can't just talk out like that, okay? If you can't handle him looking at you respectfully, all I can tell you to do is don't be in my courtroom, because he's going to keep doing it, particularly now that he knows that it irritates you. So you either are able to control yourself or you're not. And I would understand why you could not. I get that completely. But I can't have you talking up in court, okay? I need you to hear this. The next time it happens, there will be a consequence. You understand that?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Rhodes, you're smiling. I don't know why you're smiling.
Because I can't.
I love his pronunciation of smile and crime.
Because I can't.
Well,
because I can't. It's not a crime to smell.
It's not a crime to smell. It's not a crime to smell.
It's not a crime.
Continue what you were saying.
But it doesn't help you, all right, to irritate people.
All right.
And you have a lot at stake in this case.
It's not a crime to smell, is it?
I didn't say you were committing.
Okay, then.
I'm saying you're not helping yourself.
Continue what you were saying.
I'm
allowed to smell.
I would suggest you do what helps you, not what hurts you.
Okay.
That's
what I
all.
want to do.
Well,
Let's
do
get
what
that
you want to
understood.
do. That's fine.
Let's get that understood.
I'm sorry.
Let's get that understood.
Well, you made that abundantly
Continue what you
clear.
were saying about the motions.
Okay. I'm saying I want to have a hearing on it, and we'll be happy to give you a date when we can come back and talk about that. Is there work we need to do to be ready for that hearing, or we basically have what work needs to be done?
Judge, we haven't received their motion.
But we
yet,
have,
so-
yeah, we haven't filed the petition yet. Judge, we wanted to have a date from Your Honor. We have some exhibits. Some of them may be lengthy, so we're trying to get all that.
All righty. Well, next this is probably the weirdest of the exchange. First of all, his lawyer's looking surprisingly like Jesse Ventura, and he's making some accusations against the judge again. He's making some accusations against the judge. Megan Fox saying, "What is it with these weak judges?" When he's facing 3 counts of murder, life imprisonment, he's got a billion other charges he's racked up by being a jackass in jail. What contempt doesn't mean anything to him. It's better just to pretend it never happened, talk over him, and walk away. Nothing's going to be gained by sentencing him to another 20 days in jail. So yeah, I think I think the judges are doing the right thing. Just going, all right, you're being a dick. We'll just talk over you. We'll just move on without you. But in this particular deal, this is from March 10th, 2020. The triple murderer accuses the judge of being a secret KKK member. And this is his lawyer, who looks surprisingly like Jesse Ventura. Oh, Megan, there's plans. Megan says physically tape his mouth shut. There's plans for future outbursts. We'll get to those in just a bit. A Louisville man accused of 3 murders made new allegations of misconduct by the judge and prosecutor. Brice Rhodes was arrested in 2016 for the death of teenage brothers Larry Ordway and Maurice Gordon. Police say they were killed. On Tuesday, the judge denied a motion by Rhodes to throw out the case. He claims investigators and prosecutors lied and fabricated evidence. He then filed another motion to exclude evidence tied to the murders that was found in his apartment. Those actions led to a heated exchange between Rhodes and the judge. During the exchange, Rhodes accused the judge of being a secret KKK member and having a sexual relationship with the prosecutor. Let's watch that. Let's watch that play out, shall we? Now, we're going to watch this twice. It's 42 seconds long. We're going to watch it twice for reasons that will be explained in a minute.
And it's my right to speak what I need to speak on. I don't know if y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on or what y'all got going on, but I'm definitely going to speak my mind.
Detective Tinelli and I have no sexual relationship.
Now I'm talking about you and a prosecutor over there, sir. You denied all my motions. Every motion I filed, you didn't deny it.
I'm pretty sure I've denied the vast
Every motion I filed.
motions that have ever
Are you some type of racist? Or y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on? Which one is it?
Or are you just wrong in everything that you made a motion for?
Are you a secret Ku Klux Klan member?
No, sir, I'm
Is that what you really are?
No,
Okay.
I'm not.
But like I said, the higher courts, they'll deal with it when time comes. And that's
All right, let's go back and watch this again a second time. I hope you were paying attention to him the first time. Now, this time, just watch his lawyer. Just watch Jesse Ventura here. His lawyer goes into full Dr. Spiegel mode. Yeah, his lawyer goes full on Spiegel with he's just like, what you can see literally every emotion that the human face is capable of expressing go across his lawyer's face. Even right at the end, when it looks like he's going to yawn, but he wants to say something, but he's just like, he's him leaning over like, dude. This is a lawyer. Oh, and I don't have the tape of this, but he was talking about wanting a 4th lawyer. And the court sort of kind of gave this guy a backhanded compliment when he said, I think it was the new guy he gave the backhanded that we watched in the last video. He said, "We've tried very hard to find you a competent lawyer, and this is who you're stuck with." what the judge was trying to say, that he's already gone through 3 and this is as good as it's going to get. But it sort of sounded like you burned through all the good ones. Now you got to put up with this guy. But Megan, you got to defend him. He's entitled to a defense, and that's what defense lawyers do. He has every right to have a defense, and him having a defense, having a full and aggressive defense from his own lawyer protects us. You know that, Megan. Sometimes you just got to go through the motion and do the best you can to make sure his rights are protected. But watch this poor lawyer's face.
And it's my right to speak what I need to speak on. I don't know if y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on.
This is wait, what? What did I just hear here? And he kind of does the blinking like, holy shit, did this just come out of my client's mouth? Holy God, judge, I had nothing to do with this.
Or what y'all got going on, but I'm definitely going to speak my mind.
This is a man who's had better days. This guy here has had better days. And then it's so ridiculous, he almost starts laughing.
Now I'm talking about you and a prosecutor over.
He accuses the judge of having sexual relations with a prosecutor. The lawyer can't help but stifle a laugh.
Sir, you denied all my motions.
Because you denied all my motions. Like, yeah, maybe it's not because I'm a racist KKK member. Maybe it's because your motions are all fucking nonsense. And they're all completely and absolutely wrong.
Motion I filed, you didn't deny it.
I'm pretty sure I've denied the vast
every motion I filed.
Motions that have ever
Are you some type of racist? Are you?
He's like, yep, there you go. Okay, buddy. You've already accused the judge of having sex with the prosecutor. May as well call him a racist. As long as you're going to nail that coffin shut, may as well just drive a few more nails into it.
Y'all got some type of sexual relationship going on.
Notice how he leans over to say something and doesn't actually say anything. And then he wants to, you can see he wants to make a statement to the judge and then thinks better of it.
Which one is it?
Or are you just wrong in everything?
This is Brice.
Are you a secret Ku Klux Klan member?
And now it's like when he looks like he's going to yawn, but it's actually like he was opening his mouth to say something and then he freezes. There just nothing comes out of his pie hole.
No, sir.
Is that what you really are?
No.
Okay.
He's just like, fuck
But
it.
like I said, the higher courts, they'll deal with it when time comes necessary.
That is the look of a defeated lawyer. That's a look of like, oh God, why did this have to happen to me today? What did I do wrong? Lord, please help me. See, that's what I'm saying by, I think the judges are realizing he's a Charles Manson kind of guy. He's being the way people expect him to be. He's acting the way people expect him to be. He's trying to be the tough guy because they expect him to be that way. That's my theory. Well, now what happened is his lawyer eventually filed a motion to have a competency evaluation done to see whether he's competent to stand trial, because he clearly is not altogether there. It's reported he has an IQ of 72, which, if you've seen his rap video, it's not too far from reality. But before we get on to that, we do have, we have to do the bell for that one. Thank you so much. And Duncan Idaho with the $20 heat. Makes me sad to see such a warped and twisted soul. Obviously put him under the prison in the dirt, but it also hurts to see a young person like this burning angrily for his entire youth right into an early, wasteful end. Yeah. Kind of hard to argue with that. It's, it is a pity to see wasted life and wasted soul. Forrest Gump, his IQ was like in the 80s, if I recall correctly. So he's not quite as smart as Forrest Gump. All right, so now he's undergone a competency evaluation. He's competent and competent dumbass, says Giselle. Thank you so much. You're correct. Well, the Louisville judge has ruled that he is competent to stand trial. See if we can dig into some more here, too. And this was just recently. This was April 21st of this year. A Jefferson Circuit Court judge ruled Friday that triple murder defendant Brice Rhodes is mentally competent to stand trial. After hearing from witnesses for more than 2 hours, including a psychiatrist from the Kentucky Correctional Psychiatric Center in LaGrange, who evaluated Rhodes, Judge Julie Kalin ruled there has been no conclusive testimony that he is incompetent. Kalin set a trial date for December 11th in this case, which has been slowly winding its way through the court system since 2016. The competency hearing was unusual in many ways, including, this is interesting, unusual and unsuccessful attempts by Rhodes' attorney, Tom Griffiths, to have several of Rhodes' previous attorneys to testify about his conduct over the years, which includes numerous outbursts and threats. His lawyer wanted to bring his old lawyers in as witnesses to say, yeah, dude's batshit crazy. Well, the judge, when Rhodes attempted to cut Kalin off at one point, she told him he would be removed from the courtroom if he did it again. For most of the 2 hours, Rhodes sat quietly and calmly, yawning frequently. And Griffiths also attempted to testify himself on Rhodes' behavior and actions since he began representing him, including the fact that Rhodes refuses to talk with Griffiths or acknowledge his defense team. But I'm not excited about sitting in that chair, but I believe I have evidence the judge needs to hear about whether Rhodes would be able to assist in his own defense at trial, Griffiths said. Caitlin did not allow Griffiths or any attorney who represented Rhodes in the past to testify, in large part because it would be a violation of attorney-client privilege. Several of the attorneys also said they would refuse to testify. Yeah, it's not a good thing when lawyers start testifying for or against their clients in court. You become entangled. Dr. Timothy Allen, a psychiatrist from KCPC, testified that Rhodes is mentally competent to stand trial. Allen said Rhodes is articulate, understands what is happening, and pretty much did everything we asked of him. Oh, yeah, 73, sorry. Allen said Rhodes does have an antisocial personality disorder, anxiety, and substance issues. He also has a low IQ, 73, but Allen said he did not believe Rhodes was giving full effort. But Griffiths pointed out in his competency evaluation, it was reported that Rhodes would put out traps in his room to make sure nobody was sneaking in, had hallucinations, and that he believed the prosecutor in the case, among others, was trying to poison him. The recommendations from Allen in the evaluation also notes that Rhodes can participate in his own trial if he chooses to do so. See, and that's what the judge was saying at the end. I haven't seen any evidence that he is incompetent to stand trial. To me, it just seems like he is choosing voluntarily and volitionally not to participate, which is different than not being able to participate. Rhodes would not meet with a psychiatrist from his own defense team, telling the man he believed he was a police officer. Griffiths argued that Rhodes has run off multiple attorneys, does not speak to his current legal team, exhibits paranoia, and believes there's a conspiracy against him. Kalin said that's not unusual for a defendant to not trust the legal system. Asked if he wanted to represent himself at trial, Rhodes told the judge he wants to hire new attorneys, a matter that will be taken up at a later date. He also again argued that his case should be dismissed because of police misconduct. Kalin denied the motion, shock, surprise, saying there is no evidence of police wrongdoing in the case. The high-profile case has been pending since 2016. It took more than a year to evaluate his competency because of a backlog. And that's kind of where we are. All right. Now, the next thing is where this is bringing us even more up to date. This next article, we got a couple more here to get through, is from October 28th. So this is where we're starting to get into the modern era, shall we say? There we go. Brice Rhodes won't face the death penalty in the triple murder trial. That's one of the latest developments in the trial. Bigonated. There's our boy there with his very non-distinctive face and neck tattoos. Louisville, Kentucky. The man arrested for gruesome deaths of two teams, editors. Proofread this thing. Deaths of two teens and a man in 2016 won't be facing the death penalty. Brice Rhodes was arrested in 2016 for the deaths of Maurice Gordon and Larry Ordway in Louisville. The teens were stabbed to death and then set on fire. Rhodes was also charged with killing Christopher Jones a few weeks prior. Although it was ruled that Rhodes was competent to stand trial on Friday, a judge says he won't face the death penalty in the triple murder trial. The judge said Rhodes was found to be intellectually disabled and has suffered from a serious mental illness for most all of his life. That means the harshest sentence that Rhodes will now face is life without parole. Jury selection is expected to begin December 11th, and the trial will begin shortly thereafter. So essentially, what the judge concluded was that he's sane enough to stand trial, but he's too crazy to get the death penalty. So he's somewhere on the sanity spectrum between competent to stand trial and just not smart enough to understand he's being executed. Well, this is this brings us up to date on what's going on with him, and we also have to answer the question, but what if he acts out in trial this time? What if he continues to cause problems? What if he decides to go the Darrell Brooks route and choose violence? What are they going to do? They have plans. Here's the arrangements they plan to make with him. Hopefully this will tell us.
Could be wearing a device that shocks him when his trial officially begins. That decision was made during his final pretrial hearing because of Rhodes's past outbursts. He will not be shackled or handcuffed because the judge said that might make him look like a security risk and bias the jurors. But if Rhodes does cause any disturbances, he will be removed or have the option of staying while wearing a device that can shock him. The court will only take that second option if Rhodes consents to doing it. Rhodes is accused of killing 2 teens and then setting their bodies on fire back in 2016. He's also charged with the murder of another person from weeks before that incident.
So again, just to reiterate here, let's read the article, see if there's anything in the article that wasn't mentioned there. He could be wearing a device that could shock him while his trial begins. If this was a decision made during the final pretrial hearing because of Rhodes' past outbursts, he will not be shackled or handcuffed. That's the thing. They tend not to do that during the trials because it could prejudice the jury against the defendant. Oh, he's wearing handcuffs. Oh, he's shackled. Therefore, he must be a security risk. Therefore, he's probably done what you've accused him of. So they plan to he's going to have a choice. If he acts up in court, he's going to have the choice of either being removed from the courtroom a la Darrell Brooks, and he's going to be put in another room where he can build Fort Rhodes, if that's what he wants to do, or he can be fitted with a shock device, which would probably be around his ankle or his waist under his clothing. You may recall from the Darrell Brooks trial that Darrell Brooks was led to believe he had a shock device on him when he actually didn't. He was Jedi mind tricked the entire trial. He thought he had shock shackles on, but he didn't. This guy's going to be given the choice. Do you want them for reals, like for really real shock collar or shock bracelet or shock anklet or whatever the hell is going to shock you? Do you want that, or do you want to be removed from the courtroom? That's only if he has an outburst. He's been reportedly quite well behaved during the past several hearings. So again, this could go either way. But we are right here at exactly the 2-hour mark. This gives you the background, this lengthy 2-hour background into this defendant. Like I said, we all have to have one, as far as the trial is concerned, the presumption of innocence, unless the prosecution provides us with evidence that proves guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. That belief protects all of us in the system. We can have our opinions, we can have our bias, we can even have our prejudices against him. But the question is, can we set those prejudices, biases, and opinions aside and weigh the evidence and only make our decision on the evidence presented in front of us? That's what you can do. It's not wrong to have opinions and whatnot, but it's wrong if we let those override the evidence. So, with that said, maybe you have the same opinion as me, but I think the defense has a a very, very uphill battle in front of them if they want if they want his innocence to come out and him to be found not guilty. My opinion says he's really, 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 really guilty based on what I know now. But as always, I will give a fair weight to the evidence unless I'll go, all right, even though I think, even though I believe, even though I have the prejudgment that he did probably do this, I'm open to listen, and I want to make sure this is a fair trial that's conducted in a fair and open and lawful manner, and that evidence is presented. And we'll see if I come out on the side of guilty or not guilty by the end of the trial. I'm thinking guilty, but we'll have to see. And that, I guess, brings us to the end. Again, what we'll do is, I don't know when the jury's going to be seated. It could be today, it could be tomorrow. So if the jury hasn't been impaneled and the arguments don't start tomorrow, and the opening statements don't start tomorrow, I'll do something else. If they have been impaneled, then we will start with the opening statements tomorrow. Otherwise, it should be Wednesday. Trial's expected to go a couple of weeks, probably just by the end of the year, or probably slightly into the new year. And we will do the morning session first. Then I'll usually leave at lunch, and then at the lunch break, so I go to sleep because right now it's getting 2 a.m. It's 1 a.m. here. It usually gets around 2 a.m. when the court goes to lunch. So I'll go to sleep. You all can go about your day and your evenings and whatnot, and then we'll start 30 minutes or an hour early every day. We'll watch the previous day's afternoon session at 1.25 speed. When we finish that, we'll watch the current day's morning session at 1.25 speed until we catch up. Then we get to skip all the breaks and things like that. So we usually catch up. Then we watch it at real speed until the lunch break, and then we do it again, lather, rinse, repeat. To the end of the trial, we catch up on the weekends. So that's how we'll run that. It's proven to be a pretty successful model, so it doesn't keep everybody tied to your chair, tied to your phones for 8 hours a day during these lengthy breaks and the hour and a half lunches they take. So we'll keep on top of that, and we'll just have fun. And don't forget that this Friday is what I lovingly call Fuck It Friday, where we just say fuck it. And we grift for money. You throw all of your super chats at me. You throw as much money as you possibly can at my feet for no other purpose than to watch me drink lots and lots of alcohol, play with the dogs, have a great panel of guests on, and we just talk about whatever. This is our Merry effing Christmas, so we'll talk about Christmas things, probably some holiday stuff. And that's where we'll be. We have a great panel of guests. We'll be announcing more of them tomorrow. Until then, mods, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to hang out here with us and being moddy types. Thank you for all that you do to help me out. Chat, you are the greatest chat on the internet. The Vice Squad rules. You are the kings of YouTube. Do not ever forget that. And hey, mods, again, we'll see you soon next week. Probably next Friday night we'll be doing a very moddy Christmas. So stay tuned for that. If not, we'll do some other. We'll be getting it before Christmas, where it gives you a chance to meet the mods that want to come on and say hi. So until tomorrow, thank you for your support. Chat, thank you for your help. Mods, we'll see you all same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow. Not sure what we'll be doing. Hopefully it'll be this. Could be something else. Until then, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whoever you are doing with, thank you for joining me for this new trial, the Brice Rambo Rhodes triple murder trial, a twisted crime saga that will haunt you forever. Until that tomorrow, Law Rax saying peace out.